Wow. Okay. Wallers, welcome to another beginner champ guide. Today we're going to be covering off Ahri, so by the end of this
30
video
seconds
you'll
until
know
minions
know
spawn.
everything you need to jump into a game and start playing her at a basic level and hopefully win some games and win some of your lane matchups. So Ahri, before we get into the abilities, is kind of like a burst mage assassin. So you want to make sure as we talk about these abilities and as we use them, we're kind of using them in a bursty, quick trade and then back out way. We don't want to stay in extended trades with Ahri. So before we learn our first basic ability, let's talk about the passive here, the Essence Theft.
Minions
So
have
whenever Ahri
spawned.
hits an ability, she gains a stack up to 3 per ability. After reaching 9 stacks, her next ability restores some health. So long story short, every time you use an ability to hit something, you're going to gain some stacks, and when you have enough stacks, your next ability is going to heal you. So you want to use this mostly with your Orb of Deception ability, or Q, is the best way to kind of not only get the stacks, but also grab the healing from it. So she throws out her orb, that blue orb that she's holding. On the way out it deals some damage, on the way back it deals some damage. As you get better with your Q, the better Ahris basically make sure they hit the Q on the way back too, because on the way back it deals true damage. So resistances like magic resistance won't help kind of stop that damage. That's where the real damage comes from. So the better you get at landing it, kind of like that boomerang effect, you're going to be able to land it on the way back too. So you'll see here that after we hit enough enemies with it, even lane minions, we're going to gain some stacks. We're at 6 right now, and then when we get to 9, we're going to be able to heal off of it as well. So I'll use it one more time here on the lane minions. Okay, so see now it's green. We have a green Essence Theft orb now. That means that our next spell is going to heal us as well. So this will help you in lane with some sustain. If you take some damage like this, you want to try and use your green orb on as many champions and minions as you can to get the max healing from it. So we'll just use it on the whole wave there, and we healed up some damage. Okay, so you can see here, even if with some quick little trades, we're kind of at half health. Ahri is not, again, the most tanky champion. She is a mage assassin, so you have to be careful with how you position and what kind of trades you take. So your Q, again, mostly used to kind of damage the enemy champ, clear out minions if you can, and also heal you. If you can land the second portion on the boomerang back, that's when it deals the most damage. That's when you get better with it, that's what you're looking to do. The second ability you're going to pick up here is her E, her Charm. So Ahri blows a kiss that charms the first enemy hit for 1.4 seconds. Okay, the lane minions can block this charm, so you have to make sure you're using it directly on the enemy champ. So how do you do that? You need to make sure you have an open line of sight against the enemy champ. Okay, so you can see there, even the vine that Zyra spawned stopped that. So this is how you set up all-in combos and quick trades with Ahri, is with your E, with your charm. Okay, so we're gonna have to wait probably now until level 3 to really try and go for a good trade here. Zyra's a bit of a lane bully, so we're gonna pop our other potion here. But I've mostly, you can see, just been using Qs on the lane minions to try and grab last hits or try and harass her. Okay, so let's wait until we learn all 3 of our basic abilities, and then we'll try and do a quick trade here. Okay, so our W here is our Foxfire. This spawns some orbs around Ahri, and you're going to deal some damage with those orbs to enemy champions or minions that are near you. But the real benefit of this is it gives you a burst of movement speed. Okay, so that means that if you want to catch up to a champion to land your charm, you could do that. If you wanted to escape a gank, you could do that. So really the benefit of that is the movement speed. In terms of how you're going to max out these abilities, you want to max out your Q first because it's your bread and butter for damage and healing, and then you want to max out your W next, and you just kind of keep 1 point in a charm so you can grab some charms on some enemy champions and set up your combos when you need to. Okay, so we're going to start to max out our Q. Now that we have all 3 abilities and we've talked about what each of them does, we want to try and land a charm on this Zyra to open up our combo. So what that means is you're probably going to have to get into a position that's going to be charm ready almost, right? So you can see there we missed our charm, but because we're running an electrocute in our runes, and I would highly recommend you do that with your runes as well, if you can proc 3 spells or auto attacks, you're going to get some damage. Now, before you pick up any mana items, if you use your combo to liberally and too many times in lane, you're going to go out of mana very, very quick, which is called right? Out of mana. So try and make sure you only use your Qs to damage the enemy champions and clear out minion waves and push waves to tower until you get a mana item where you can actually start to try and land some combos more often without going out of mana. Because if you're out of mana as Ahri, you're basically just a right-click auto-attack champion, or auto-attacks don't do that much damage. So probably just use your Qs in lane. It's going to be tough to land your charms on enemy champions before you get your ultimate, which we'll talk about in a second. So unless someone really just walks right up into your face, you're not really going to be able to land that charm on them through the enemy minion lines. Okay, now we are level 6, so we can learn our ultimate, or Spirit Rush. This gives you 3 dashes, okay? Up to 3 dashes you can use in a row. So the dash is, you can think of it like a flash. It gives you about the same range of a dash distance, but really what this does is it lets you set up your charm, okay? Because now you can dash around the minion wave, you can dash to get closer to an enemy champion, cover some distance, right? So what we'll try and do here is when she gives us an opening, we'll just see if we can land our basic combo, which is our charm WQ, and then just start running away, right? She's a burst mage, so that's your basic combo there that you want to land. Once you land that, you basically dip out, okay? Now, if they get low enough and you want to try and all in, you can combo that with your ultimate, okay? So here, we can try and ult into a position either on the left or the right side to create a little bit of space, okay? Again, if you get better at landing your Qs, you want to use your Qs to push the wave and also damage the champion if possible. See, we might not even have to all in her with our ult, we might be able to just harass with our Q, okay? As you get more points in your Q, you're going to be able to push the lane, which means you're going to be able to damage more minions faster. This is good for Ahri because you want to be poking champions under tower while they're trying to last hit with your Q, okay? And because the Q, you can hit every minion in the wave, essentially, it's a good tool to push and get plates, or if she was to stay here now, you can Q them and try and damage them. So in lane, when you're playing Ahri, you're essentially trying to stay safe before level 6, land as many Qs and push waves or on the enemy champions that you can, and only use your E and W to escape ganks, or if they walk right into a beautiful position to all in them, you can try and land a quick combo pre-level 6. But in general, if you do that 1 or 2 times, you're going to run out of mana quick, and you're not going to be able to do too much else in lane. So you want to push, right? Use your Q to do that, and then save your E and W for some of those quick bursty all-in combos when it makes sense. Alright, so very basic style. If you watch the Nico guide, it's very similar to that. Once you pick up your first mana item here, which generally is going to be the Lost Chapter, that's what you want to be building towards, then you can start to be a little bit more loose with your EWQ combos, okay? So let's try and land another EWQ on this Zyra here. If we can get her to half health, we'll try and use our ultimate to all in her. Okay, so we'll just walk back to lane. We have Ignite, so we can use that if we want as well. So again, you want to try and set this up by clearing minion waves fast, using your Q to do so. If you can hit the enemy champ like so, that's perfect, because then we're going to set them up with a little bit of damage in time for our all-in. Okay, we'll start to move up here, but you can see right now all I'm focusing on is using my Q on the minion wave, pushing it in so I can start to get to that point where I can harass her or catch her with my charm.
Oh no.
Okay, so see now we can maybe throw out some Qs and damage her while she's under tower. So same thing again, we're just going to push waves with our Q, heal up off some of that damage, dodge when you can. Right? If she walks up into us, then we'll try and use our charm. Right? Like now, charming, Wing, getting the kill. So we didn't have to ult there yet. I just wanted to show that your EWQ combo can do enough damage, but it is quite hard to land that charm, right? There's a lot of things that can get in the way of that charm, and if your charm's on cooldown, basically you are kind of a sitting duck to their combo. So just keep that in mind, right? That's why I'd recommend using the Q mostly, staying safe, just grabbing these last hits, and then when you have an opportunity to land the charm in the wide open, like when they're sitting under tower after you pushed, that's when you want to do that. Okay, so we'll push and take a couple tower plates here. This would be very common if you play Ahri, to be able to push waves in. If you're spamming the waves with your Q, you'll kind of get them shoved in really quick, and then you can save your E or your W or your ultimate to escape if a gank comes. So I wouldn't ult right away if a gank comes. You could probably escape most of them just with the movement speed off your W after you get a few points in it. So for example here, if someone was coming, we could just W, get a little bit of burst of movement speed, and you can see she can't catch us and we wouldn't get comboed from a gank there either. Okay, so if she wants to walk up, we'll land our charm, Q, okay, W, right? Pretty basic stuff here. You can see we could have ulted the killer there. I didn't want to. I just want you guys to understand the E, W, Q combos and how you can kind of effectively catch people off guard. Now in lane, it's obviously a little bit tougher to land that combo straight up, especially if you're against a ranged champion like Zyra is. She can stay behind minion waves. It's going to be easier against melee champs. If you're playing something like a Zed or a Talon, you might have better luck in landing it. It's going to be very effective though mid-game in team fight situations, especially if you have wards in bushes or you're camping out in a bush. You might be able to catch people off guard with it and grab some kills. Also because it's a charm and it brings people in towards you, you can think of it almost like a blitzcrank hook if you ever played that champion. It's great for kind of pulling one priority target into your team so everybody can focus them down and get a quick kill. So even though you may not be able to fully assassinate as well as a Zed or a Fizz, she does provide a little bit of crowd control and ability for your team to focus down targets the way her kit is. Okay, so you want to build into Luden's Tempest as your first item. It gives you ability power, it gives you cooldown reduction in terms of the ability haste, it gives you a ton of mana, and it gives you some magic penetration. So this is the item you want to be rushing in all of your games as your first item. Okay, I'm going to sell the Doran's now just so we can pick this up. And let's get back to lane and try and do some all-ins now, including our ultimate. So we've basically talked a lot about so far in this guide of how you're going to basically just be spamming your Q non-stop. You don't really want to use your W or your E in lane unless it's a for sure fire because of how much mana it's going to burn. Okay, so you want to focus on pushing waves and harassing and poking with your Q in levels 1 to 6. Once you get level 6 though, watch what we'll do here. We'll use our R to dash around these minions and then land our combo, and we're going to R a second time to keep ahead of her and a third time to stay ahead of her, and we'll ignite a Q for a kill. Okay, so that's how you want to use your Q against ranged champions or melee champions in lane. If you feel like you have the damage to kill them if they miss position even slightly behind their minion wave, because you can ult past the wave and get into an area where your E, your charm, can hit without any obstructions. Okay, so that's how you want to use it. Now, the cooldown on this is about a minute to start. As you level it up and get more ability haste, it's going to get lower and lower. So as the game progresses and you move into mid-game or other enemy champions also have abilities to engage you, you want to make sure you're really only playing aggressively when your ult is up. Okay, you want those 3 dashes to really play Ahri to her fullest. Without them, essentially you're a poke champ or someone who's going to catch another enemy champion with a charm and pull them into your team. So some quick rules to playing Ahri: levels 1 to 6, focus on hitting as many wave minions as you can with your Q. If you can catch the enemy champion in that wave and deal some damage as well, perfect, that's great. If not, no worries. You're trying to scale up to your last chapter in terms of gold. Once you get last chapter, you might still be level 1 to 6, then you can start to land a few more W's and E's in those combos and try and look for some mini trades. But essentially with Ahri, we're trying to stay safe, we're trying to push waves and poke until we get to level 6. When we get to level 6, that's when we can really open it up and have some fun trying to all-in and catch them with your charms. Okay, so we have our ultimate up again here, so it's going to be the same tactic here. I'm going to try and ult past the minion wave and land my charm. Okay, so ult past, okay, land your charm, Q, W, and then just keep ulting to keep your space and keep your damage up. Okay, that's essentially it. Okay, that's plain Ahri. Play safe, play poke heavy, levels 1 to 6. Level 6, you're basically playing around your cooldown, your ultimate. Pretty straightforward if you play according to those rules. Again, to become a really good Ahri, the things in my mind that you'd have to start to get really good at is landing the boomerang part of your Q and ulting and charming in unison to really make some big picks and get those solo kills. If you're not able to do that yet, that's okay. In team fights, you can still focus down a frontline target who's out of position by just landing a charm on them and letting your team do a bunch of damage and trying to fire up some Qs to poke them in that process. But just make sure you play safe until your ultimate's up. Get used to throwing the Q, the boomerang effect. It does follow you as you move on the way back, so you can try and land the second portion of it a little bit more. See if I walk back this way, and again, if they get out of position, you can punish them with the charm. So guys, have fun with her. Try her out a lot. She's going to have a lot of skill expression, a lot of outplay potential, so very fun champion to pour a lot of games into and get good at. And let me know if you have any questions. I'll catch you guys in the next one.